Taraji P. Henson stars in the new movie The Best of Enemies as civil rights activist Ann Atwater. In 1971, Atwater worked alongside the KKK leader C.P. Ellis, played by Sam Rockwell, in a community problem-solving meeting known as a charrette to find a way to end school segregation in Durham, North Carolina.
Now you listen to me, Councilman, and you too, Mr. Tucker.
I sat down with Henson to talk about what lessons this movie has for 2019.
We all talk a lot right now, in Washington especially, about how to confront Trump. And there's a conversation about the concept of civility. And do we need to be civil in all of our protests? And I thought about this a lot while watching your movie about how Ann Atwater does not care about civility. She goes up in a council meeting, she spins around a chair, she smacked a councilman in the head once because he wasn't listening to her. Do you think civility is a trap to stop the work of people like Ann Atwater and of activists who are mad?
Absolutely. To muzzle them or to belittle what they're trying to accomplish, absolutely. But Ann didn't care.
Who's next?
And thank God she didn't, because that's the only way change happened. And she was being disrespected. You know, now the disrespect is kind of on the DL. You know, you got to kind of go, was that just a dig to me? You know, but it was so blatant. You know, and she was a warrior. She had to. How was she gonna get these men to listen? She had to scream and her voice had to be louder. It's like when you are in the wild and you come up against an animal, your roar needs to be louder so they can, you know, so they won't attack you, so they won't eat you up.
What do you have in common with Ann Atwater?
I understand her passion to speak up for people who don't have a voice. I was always the kid at school that made the student that was exclusive. I always included them. I always found myself taking up for kids who were being bullied on, you know. So I understand her passion to help people.
Where are we gonna go to school now?
I'm gonna find you somewhere real nice to go.
And I love her, you know, no nonsense way of going about it. You know, let's get to the brass tacks of things. She didn't take no for an answer.
When I was watching it, I was so inspired by her. She displayed, obviously, so much courage standing up to the KKK, who could kill her, but also in her capacity for forgiveness. And I was watching it thinking, I don't know if I could do that. And do you think that anyone could be like that, could be so brave and so forgiving, or is she a unique figure in history?
Martin Luther King did it. I mean, you know, so many of the civil rights activists protested in nonviolent ways. So yeah, you know, Rosa Parks, just by simply not giving up her seat. If you want change, you have to be the change you want to see. And that's what she did. She had to change her approach with him, and she did have to tap into her Christianity. I mean, if you consider yourself a Christian, if you're not loving unconditionally or all-inclusively, you need to check yourself.
In watching this movie, I also felt a little, well, being inspired by Ann Atwater, a little troubled that I find myself, especially at the crux of the movie and the climax of the movie, rooting for a leader of the KKK and him being a bit of a hero. Do you think, will people see this and react a little like, oh, I didn't want to root for a Klansman?
That's why Sam Rockwell is so good at what he does. When you play a villain that people can feel for, because they're human. You know, I've had someone on Twitter jump and attack me like, how dare y'all try to humanize a KKK member, a Klan member? I'm like, but they are human and they just lost, you know? When they join hate groups, even gangs and cults, people, those are humans looking for love, looking to be accepted or looking for a sense of belonging. But it's misguided, but at the end of the day, all they want is love.
I was reading the book that Best of Enemies is based on, and the author of that book really stresses that the thing that C.P. Ellis and Ann Atwater and their communities had in common was their poverty.
Yes, it definitely is. And, you know, it's set up for us to not like each other, but she made C.P. Ellis see that they were one and the same. Like, dude, you just as poor as I am, but you sitting over there thinking you're better than me? It's just absurd.
Same God made you, made me.
What do you think is the most important message of this movie coming out in 2019?
I think the most important message is that love always wins. And we have to stop yelling at each other and really listen. And listen to each other for understanding. I think we just need a big charrette.
Whose life do you want to touch and change with this movie portraying Ann Atwater?
I want to touch a lot of hateful hearts on both sides. On both sides. We just need more compassion in the world. That's what we need. It's lacking compassion and empathy. And, you know, hopefully this movie will spark a little more of that.